Well, hello everyone, Texie88 here, welcome to another retro gaming review. And now I'm taking a look at the Amstrad CPC port of hard driving after having just looked at the ZX Spectrum version. First thing I've noticed is that hard driving logo at the very top is really blocky. I don't know why it's that blocky when nothing else about the display is quite as chunky as that. But in a menu selection before I started this review, it actually said that the keyboard controls were the same as that of the Spectrum, but it also added the ability to centralise steering automatically by pressing the space bar. So I'm hoping that will make the car a bit easier to control, to make up for the fact that I'll be controlling it with a keyboard, which, given that this is a driving simulation type thing, isn't ideal. But enough of that, let's get this show on the proverbial road. Okay. So as with the Spectrum version, you can choose between auto and automatic gears or manual. So I'm going to stick with manual, odd enough as it is. And the first thing I notice, two words: Spectrum port. Why did they do a Spectrum port? And it's got the same monochrome, exactly the same color scheme as the Spectrum version. Yeah, I've just tested pressing spacebar, and it does indeed work. Yeah, it's got a great big bar this time for steering. Although the yellow line below the time doesn't go as far right all the way over there, thank God. But having the space bar to centralise the steering is certainly making it a bit more bearable than the Spectrum version's steering capabilities were. But the frame rate's noticeably worse than in the Spectrum version. I can't help feeling if it had been reprogrammed from scratch, it might, just might, have been able to cope a little bit better. Oh. It's still got the instant replays, but it pauses the sound, which isn't ideal. Went down too fast. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that that wasn't ideal going that fast down there. Oh shit! God, that was close. Little bit of a time delay when pressing left or right to steer, which is a bit of a pain in the bum. Why did they do a Spectrum port? Oh, come off it! I wasn't going that fast. See, look, I think that was a bit off. At least I'm starting on the top of that bridge. Whatever happens, next time I start again, I'm going to have a go at the stunt track. Running out of time. Where's that check? Where's that gate? Sound isn't ideal. It's like it's been cribbed straight from the Spectrum. Probably has, with the exception of that bottom dashboard section. Everything else is Spectrum port. The frame rate is definitely noticeably worse than it is on the Spectrum. I can't help feeling that had it been done from scratch and done properly, it wouldn't have been quite as sluggish as this, although I'm not absolutely sure.
there'd probably still have had to have been some compromises to get around the fact that 8-bit computers and 3D graphics, or well, any kind of 3D graphics were a bit of a challenge. I really don't like that sound. And the noticeable frame rate drop with the... Damn it! Oh, ran straight in the back of that lorry. See, it's harder to make things out when the frame rate's so... What? There was a lorry in front of me. What was that action replay saying I crashed into? Oh, come on, please. Right. Right, I've done a whole lap of the speed track. Shit! Bollocks! Now I'm going to go on the stunt track. Quite nicely defined lorries, given the limitations of the hardware, and even the car shape's quite nice. Oh no, that clock at the bottom is keeping strict time even though there's a frame rate drop. I don't think it's quite the same problem in the Spectrum version. No! Again, as with the Spectrum version, there's no cow on the... What? I've just bounced off the barn. It decided to reset myself. It totally got its knickers in a knot there. I'm not going to make it, but I'm gonna, because of what's happened, I'm gonna have another go so you can see the stunt track. Shit, bollocks. I bet that's going to look nice on the replay. Yeah, crunch. Again, why are there no crash sounds? I mean, we're on an Amstrad. Even, I mean, it was a bit iffy enough that there were no crash sounds on the Spectrum version. Of the 128K Spectrum version, there's no sound at all on the 48K. Oh, shit. Right, I'm going to do the stunt track. I'm going to have another go and this time do the stunt track. Oh, I thought that sound was going to carry over. I'm not going to do manual gears. The game's hard, even with the ability to press space to... What? Oh dear, that must have happened just because I... That must have happened because I crashed just as the timer ran out. And it probably confused the game. Obviously not smoothly gradiented roads, that would have been a bit impossible in the time in which this game came out. Now, I'm not going to go too fast over this because otherwise I'm going to go flying like I did just then. Shit. It's just a shame that there's a time delay between pressing a command and it happening. It's not quite so bad for accelerating and braking, but when you want to turn left at the drop of a hat or centralise the stick... Shit! I'm going way too fast. Oh dear, this isn't going to be good. Crunch. Crash. Oh, it's put me past the bridge, which is something. Right, 40 miles an hour going around that corner, so I'm not going to go too fast, otherwise I'm just going to go all over the place. And I'll probably go all over the place anyway, because even with the car's still a bastard to control. What? Why did I crash there? I mean, I know I was off the road when approaching it, but I surely shouldn't have crashed. I must have crashed into some kind of invisible fly or something. Oh, the frame rate isn't as good as it is on the Spectrum version, I have to admit. Oh, I've gone off the edge. But it let me have it. Just got to get through that gate and get a time extension. This is right. Not go too fast down here. It certainly makes it a lot easier with that centralizing of the 40. The lorry there. Oh, balls! I thought I was just going to get past that. I was doing so well. Oh, it's put me right way back there. Why? There is absolutely no way I'm going to make it to the checkpoint where it's put me all the way back to the before the loop. Game over. So that's hard driving for the Amstrad CPC. And so here's my verdict. Graphics. Well, apart from this map screen in that dashboard section and the menu options in general, the actual gameplay window is a blatant direct port from the Spectrum version. The colours are identical. They've done absolutely nothing with the visual appearance of the in-game graphics. So that's going to count against it because the Amstrad's capable of doing some nice coloured graphics, and it's just copped out by being a Spectrum port. Sound, pretty much the same as 128K Spectrum version. Again, there's no sound effect for when the car crashes into something, and that really is a disappointment. God, that frame rate. It is definitely slower than the Spectrum version. Not a massive amount slower, but still slower. And the fact that it's a blooming Spectrum port in itself is an insult to the machine. Gameplay. I know it's helped a little by the fact you can press the space bar to recenter the steering wheel. But it's hampered in this version by the fact that the frame rate's so much lower, and there's a response lag between pressing, say, left or right, and the left or right actually happening, and that's not great. You really need to have responsive controls in a driving game. So I'm going to give the CPC version of hard driving 4 out of 10. It loses some brownie points due to on the Spectrum version, which I gave 6 if I remember correctly, due to the noticeable frame rate issues compared to the Spectrum version, and because the in-game graphics Spectrum actually screams direct Spectrum port with nothing else done to them. So I can't really give it the same score, as high a score as the Spectrum version got, I'm afraid. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that review. Hope to catch you on another one soon. Texie88 out.